what inspired me to talk about the gap and in the in-between is a new course, Becoming the CEO of Your Life, that I am going to launch in July. So check out the first comments, and there is a sign up in Thinkific because there's going to be a bonus transmission in August. Because what I want you to do is, I don't want you to just come on here and consume information. I want you to take that information and start practicing it in your own life. Because when you start stepping out of the norm and stepping out of the mold that you were created in, you start feeling patterns creep up. Let me tell you about an example that just happened with me. I was on my way to a casino night annual meeting for the business council, the chamber that I am a member of. And I kind of knew it was going to be just maybe a little bit more glitzy than normal, but nothing out of this world. So I decided to wear a head-to-toe sequins with long satin gloves, and I was the silver bullet walking in with pink and purple flowers all over myself with a fur coat. And that was an identity that I stepped into, even though on the way there was a torrential downpour. There were 2 accidents on the highway that 17 minutes later, right? And even though I left early enough to have a lot of time just in case something happened, I was still 10 minutes late. And this is the pattern that crept up with me. I remember in my old neighborhood when the bus would pick up the kids at the end of the block, and we would all stand at the end of the block, and it would take a good minute for all of us to get onto the bus and get seated before the bus left. And I remember watching the bus stopping, and I was late, so I was running. I'm running with my little legs. I was probably 1st or 2nd grade. I remember hearing my bus pass flapping in the fisherman's license plastic holder our dad gave us. And then I heard the brakes shut off and maybe the doors shut, and I hid behind a tree and cried. Like I didn't even give him a chance to see me. I just cut it short. And I didn't allow these people to step up because I feared that they wouldn't. So I didn't give them the space that they needed to step up. So that stuck inside me my whole life and just came up last night on my way there. When you find yourself stepping into your new role or stepping into something that you know is good for you, but it's not going to be good for the relationships around you or the people around you, remember some of these patterns that have kept you small your whole life. Without giving people the opportunity to step up for me, I never really truly ran my own school, only under co-principalship. That was as far as I got into my leadership in my career because I didn't want to be the head. I wanted to be second banana. And that was a yearning on my heart to support my divine union. That was not what I should have done in the world. But because I was inverted and in my career, I couldn't see it. And then I froze myself, or I became flighty and either moved schools or did something else in order to get the job that I thought I could stay second banana in. Isn't that interesting? So throughout that drive last night, I had 3 opportunities to turn around and go home. Walking into that annual meeting like Marilyn Monroe gone feral in a downpour with a fur coat on, my shoes are drenched, 10 minutes late would kill me. But I did it anyways. And what happened on the other side is I had a fantastic night all night, and it turned out everybody was late. I was one of the first ones to come in, so I was able to scout the area, pick out my table, make some mistakes getting my drinks and figuring out tickets. I was able to figure it out and have a good time and show up as the Joe Show can show up and be authentically me because I did step over that threshold. The little Joe in the yellow school bus definitely wanted to go home and cry it out. But instead, I just cried it out right there in the car and held her hand as I walked in and noticed all the glances, and then realized that I wasn't behind and I wasn't late and I wasn't too much. I was just enough. All right, ladies, when you hear those little tiny voices in your head that says, don't shine too bright, you're going to be a target. Don't earn too much money because people are going to ask you for it. Don't worry about that, because you already know how to say no. You already know how to hold yourself sovereign and hold the other person capable, just as sovereign as you, to heal themselves. And quite frankly, you just being around them and that sopping wet shoes you had to wear all night long, and the shout out to the universe for not making me squeak and squeal and slush all night in them. Appreciate it. I was able to have a good time, and I just branded myself. All right, ladies, that's what's on the other side of your fear. I'll see you in all the rooms.